Ever since the tension started building in the last episode, we all knew something big was coming, but the episode 6 trailer takes things to a completely different level. The stakes are no longer just emotional. They're dangerous, unpredictable, and, honestly, a little terrifying. Right from the beginning of the trailer, there's this heavy feeling in the air, like something is about to go very wrong. And when you look closely, it's clear that the calm we saw before was just the silence before the storm. Jamie is no longer holding back, and you can see it in his eyes. He's done negotiating, done giving chances, and now he's preparing for something much more final. But what makes this even more intense is the fact that he's not just fighting enemies anymore. He's dealing with betrayal from within. That changes everything. And then there's Claire. Once again, she becomes the emotional core of everything. While Jamie is ready to take extreme steps, Claire is the one trying to hold everything together. You can actually feel her fear in the trailer, not fear for herself, but for what Jamie might become if he crosses that line. She understands the consequences, not just for them, but for everyone around them. And that's where the real conflict begins. It's no longer just about survival, it's about morality. How far can they go before they lose themselves completely? And honestly, this is what makes the story so gripping. It's not just action, it's the emotional weight behind every decision. At the same time, the situation on the ridge is getting worse by the second. The trailer hints that the Loyalists are not done yet. If anything, they're becoming more desperate and more dangerous. And when desperate people have nothing left to lose, that's when things turn truly chaotic. Jamie knows this, which is why he's preparing for a confrontation that might not end peacefully. But what makes this even more complicated is the presence of innocent families. Women, children, people who have nothing to do with the betrayal. And this is where the lines start to blur. Because no matter what decision Jamie makes, someone is going to suffer. Now here's the part that really caught my attention. There's a moment in the trailer where it feels like Jamie is being pushed into a corner. Like he has no choice left. And whenever a character like him reaches that point, you know something drastic is about to happen. It's almost like the story is forcing him to become someone he never wanted to be. And that's honestly heartbreaking to watch. Because deep down, we all know who Jamie really is. He's not a ruthless man, but circumstances are slowly turning him into one. And just when you think things couldn't get more intense, the trailer drops another hint. Alliances are shifting. The possibility of outside forces getting involved is becoming more real. And if that happens, this is no longer just a personal conflict, it becomes a full-scale war. The kind of war where no one is truly safe. Not Claire, not Jamie, not anyone. And that's what makes this episode feel so important. It's not just another chapter, it's a turning point. What makes this trailer so powerful is how it builds tension without revealing too much. It gives you just enough to feel the danger, but not enough to predict what's going to happen next. And that uncertainty, that's what keeps you hooked. Because at this point, anything can happen. Characters we trust could make shocking decisions. Relationships could break. And outcomes we never expected could become reality. And honestly, if this is just the trailer, I can't even imagine how intense the full episode is going to be. Now, we really need to talk about something that the trailer quietly hints at, but could end up being one of the biggest turning points in episode 6, and that is the return of powerful alliances. Because if you paid close attention, it's clear that Jamie is not planning to handle this situation alone anymore. And that changes everything. For so long, he's tried to protect his land, his people, and his family on his own terms. But now, that control is slipping away. And when a man like Jamie starts reaching out for help, you know the situation is far more serious than it looks on the surface. There's this growing feeling that the upcoming conflict won't just stay limited to the rich. It's expanding. And with that expansion comes people who don't share Jamie's sense of honor or restraint. That's the dangerous part. Because while allies can bring strength, they also bring their own agendas. And the trailer gives us just enough to suspect that whoever steps in to help might not play by the same rules. Which raises a very important question. Is Jamie about to win the battle, but lose himself in the process? At the same time, the emotional tension between Jamie and Claire continues to grow stronger. You can almost feel the distance building between them, not because they don't love each other, but because they're standing on opposite sides of a very difficult decision. Claire wants to protect the innocent, no matter what. Jamie wants to eliminate the threat before it destroys everything they've built. And both of them are right in their own way. That's what makes it so painful to watch. Because there is no perfect solution here. No matter what they choose, there will be consequences. And then comes a moment in the trailer that really stands out. It's subtle, but powerful. Claire looks at Jamie in a way that feels different, almost like she's questioning whether she truly recognizes the man in front of her anymore. That moment says a lot without saying anything at all. Because it hints at something deeper, the fear that war doesn't just change situations, it changes people. And if Jamie goes too far, there might be no coming back from it. Meanwhile, away from the ridge, other storylines are quietly building toward something big. William's journey, for example, feels like it's heading toward an emotional breaking point. The trailer doesn't give us too much, but the tone alone suggests that he's going to face a situation that challenges him deeply. Whether it's about loyalty, identity, or love, something is coming that could change his path completely. And knowing his character, he's not someone who handles emotional conflict easily, which makes things even more unpredictable. And let's not forget the tension surrounding relationships. Because if there's one thing this show does perfectly, it's mixing personal struggles with larger conflicts. Love, trust, betrayal, all of these themes are slowly colliding. And in episode 6, it feels like some of those collisions are finally going to explode. The trailer gives off that energy, the kind where emotions run high, decisions are rushed, and consequences hit hard. Another interesting detail is how the pacing of the trailer itself feels different. It's faster, more intense, almost like it's pushing you towards something you can't escape. Every scene feels like a countdown. Like something is ticking in the background, getting closer and closer to a moment that will change everything. And when a trailer is edited like that, it usually means one thing. The episode is going to be packed with major events. But here's what makes it even more exciting, and a little terrifying at the same time. The show has reached a point where it's no longer following a predictable path. Characters are evolving, situations are escalating, and the story is taking risks. That means we can't rely on expectations anymore. Just because something seems likely doesn't mean it will happen. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes episode 6 feel so important. Because by the end of it, we might not just be talking about a great episode, we might be talking about a moment that changes the entire direction of the season.